Hello and welcome to the Art Hitman. I'm Perry McCants, and today I'm going to show you how to draw Thor. Okay, let's go ahead and divide our page in half. Just put a simple line from top to bottom, and notice his off center is not directly in the center line, so this helps us understand where he is on the page. Now, from here we can put a little simple line in for his neck. Now we're going to measure here. We're going to take our index finger and our thumb. We're going to move down for his chest, just under his chin, of course. We're going to mark it. We'll move down one more time for where his waist is, and then mark it there. Okay, so as you see here, we have our two markings here for his torso. So we're going to go ahead and put an oval shape in for his neck, and then begin drawing his torso in. As you can see, his body is 3/4 and is going to be on a slant. So from here, you're just going to draw a line and connect the dots that we put in for his chest and where his waist is going to be. Just like this. And of course, the rest of his legs and stuff like that is going to go off the page. Now with his arms, the reason why I put these lines in here and it goes from wide to a thin point here is because we need to understand how far his arm his right arm is going back into space, how far his forward arm is coming in on his left arm. So let's go ahead and put his shoulders in. And we'll go ahead and also establish where his chest is going to be. So put a line here. Now, we're going to put circles in for his shoulder, which is going to be here. Put the other one, of course, it's going to be smaller. This guideline should help us. And draw a smaller shoulder line here, or circle. Notice the difference between the sizes. Because as his body's going back into space, it's going to go from thick to thin, and his body's going to proceed back into space here. Now, you can go ahead and draw a line right through here so it can kind of help us measure this. So we're going to move his shoulder up a little bit. And this line is going to help us gauge where his hand is going to show up. So from here, this is where the foreshortening comes in. So this is his shoulder. Then we're going to put his bicep and tricep in right here. And we're going to put his forearm here. And draw that circle a little bigger. Okay. Now for his hand, now we know where his hand is going to be. It's going to fall around in here somewhere. So let's go ahead and box his hand in. And it's going to be a square. Now what I like to do is go ahead and zoom in on this part for the hand. For structure's sake, put a circle right here. And then it's going to be two lines here for his thumb. And then put his thumb shape in, just like this. Okay, now for the top portion of his hand, it's going to be his index finger, his middle finger, ring finger, and then the pinky. Just like that. And this is cool, okay for now. So we're going to go ahead on and start to sketch his hand. So here we have the index finger coming on the other side. Notice what I'm doing is I'm taking the center line and going around that and putting the finger detail in. Have this go straight down into the thumb. Of course, the middle finger is going to be slightly taller. Now his ring finger, it's going to spread out a little bit to the left, and it's going to be a little bit shorter than the middle finger, but not quite as short as the ring or the index finger. His pinky is going to be the shortest, so we're going to have the pinky just kind of come off to the side like this. Okay. Now we're going to close this hand by bringing you see where this circle is, where the center line meets here. Have that come around like that. Now we don't need too much for this right now, so for now we wanted to kind of establish the shape here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom back out, and we're going to go to the other arm. The other arm is going to fall back on itself here. So you're going to have a circle here for the bicep and tricep, and then we're going to have the forearm that comes in around here. For the forearm, we can put a circle here, make sure it's a perfect circle, and then that way we can kind of put his forearm in. Just like that. Then for this hand, we're going to have a box shape coming around like this. And then we're gonna put a circle just like we did for the left hand, and then come out to the side and come around and come in. This is going to be his thumb wrapping around the hammer, or Mjolnir. Then we're going to have his index finger, middle finger is going to be slightly higher, ring finger, and then the pinky is going to wrap around like that. All right, so for right now, we're going to go ahead and establish his face. We want to put his head on a slant here, and then of course zoom in for the features of his head. I'm going to switch out my pencil here for mechanical for a little bit more detail. Now, I'm going to go ahead and what I usually do is put in 2 temple lines here so we know how far to take the eyebrows and things like that off the head. I'm going to put a mark here for his helmet. Now, we're going to start with his eyebrows. Go up on an angle and hit the temple line and then come down. And he has an angry face, so we're going to keep it fairly simple. Make an angry face and have the line go down to the middle, come up, and then come over just like this. Okay? Immediately after that, we're going to emphasize the eyes. So we're going to bring his eyes in just beneath the eyebrow. And he's squinting or frowning, so his eyes are going to be pretty close to being closed. And put the iris in the middle, just like this. And do the same thing for the left eye. And go ahead and want to move this iris over a little bit. Okay. Now for his nose, we're going to go ahead and put that line in for the nose. And his nose is pretty simple, so we're going to just have a line that come in like this, go up. Now, you're not going to come down on this side. You're going to hit the center line, come over again, down, up again. Just like that. And of course, we're going to put like a little bridge in for his nose there and put the top of it in. And that completes his nose there. Now, I'm going to make some room for his yell because he's in a battle mode. This is action pose, of course, so I'm going to move his jaw down a little bit so we have enough room to put the mouth in. For his mouth, we're going to widen his mouth because he's yelling. I'm going to come all the way down to about here. And it's going to be a square shape. And you're going to have a line that comes up past the square. Now for his teeth, you want to just block in a shape that's just like this. Come in, go over, and come back down. And for now, keep the shape simple. His bottom teeth here is going to come over like this. Now, of course, for his jaw, it's stretched. So we're going to come in on an angle a little bit here, come down, come around the bottom, and then come back to the top. And then for his helmet, we're going to bring it down, put the rim here. We already had the top of the rim here. Come over, and these are arc shapes. So this is a half arc shape and another half arc. And then we're going to close the sides of it like this portion of his helmet. Now for the top of his helmet, it's just round. So we're going to do a half circle. Come around to the other side. And he has a pinnacle at the top, which is pretty much a triangle shape. Go up and go down. Let's put the center line in so we can see if it's the center. Looks like it's a little off, so I'm just move that over slightly. Come down to the other side. And remember, right now we're not going crazy with detail. We're just lightly putting Thor in and getting an understanding of what we want things to be. Now, he has a lot of hair, so we're going to go ahead and deal with his hair. So the first strand, I'm going to have come around, down over his body like this. So this is one piece. Lightly sketch that in. And of course, it's an S shape. As you see here, I have an S shape kind of coming in and swooping around like this. The next portion of his hair is going to come around. This is what I call the second lock of hair, and bring it in with the first lock. Then have another one kind of come up higher and wrap around the top of his shoulder. And you can throw a last one in there. You can barely see that one. Now we're going to come around to his left side and repeat the same process, in which we'll have the hair kind of spin around this way and go over this part of his chest. Close the first lock, come in around like this. Bring another lock like this. And then the last one, just have it come over his shoulder where we don't see that one. All right. Now his neck, we're just gonna put a simple line that kind of comes in like this. And for what he wears at the top is a simple V-neck kind of tights that kind of comes in a V shape like this. If you notice, I went down the middle and up. It's very simple, and then you can kind of put an indication of his muscles in his neck here. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and sketch out the rest of his body, in which we're gonna have his chest come out to here and meet this line down here where his chest line is. Down and curve. His rib cage gonna come out to about here, come in, and go straight down like this to where his belt line's gonna be. Now we can go ahead and add some detail to his chest, so close up the bottom portion. This part of his chest is gonna come over the center line, come down, and it's gonna go over just like this. Come back up to this portion, or this part of his shoulder. Now, we're gonna bring his rib cage around, just like this, and then come down straight like that. Now for his centerpiece or his torso, bring a line in like this and come down just like that. I'm gonna start dealing with his shoulders here. But first, before I do that, let's make room for his cape. So he has these cylinders that are on his chest. Let's lightly sketch that in. Don't go dark. Just look at what I'm doing and repeat the same thing. Lightly put that in. Don't press too hard with your pencil. And then you want to have the cape that's going to come under, right? So that means we got to get rid of this line, because now we're starting to add minor detail to Thor. Okay? So we're going to have this come up through, draw through his hair. It's okay. And then repeat the same side with this disc. His cape is attached to the disc on his chest. Bring that line past like this. It's going to kind of come up and go over like that. We can do the same thing for the other side. It's just going to come out the top of this cylinder here, go under his hair. And of course he's wearing a kind of like a tank top look. So it kind of cuts off here just where the rib cage is. So have an arc shape that comes under like this. Now, we're going to go ahead and add the wings to his helmet. So let's come back up. Let's move this over. For his wings, we're going to come straight up off the side. Go up. Come in. Back down on the side like this. Then you want to come in. You don't want to make the line go straight above like this. You want to come under a little bit. And then you want to come down behind his cape. Now these are like feathers, so you want to have one come out here. Then you're going to have a line that comes in like this, straight down. You want to come in 1, count it, 2, and a third one we don't see. Repeat the same thing here. It doesn't kind of line up, so you can make it go in the center, and then it goes behind his cape. So this. Well, let's put this strands over his hair here and let it come around like that. Now, for this cape, we can just come up like this, put a line there, darken the hair, just like that. Now, of course, we have to do the other side of his helmet with the wings. So we need to repeat the process on his right side. So come up, bring it out, then come back in. Now, as I always do, I'm going to use my pencil to measure where the other side of the helmet should come in. So I'm going to take my finger, slide it over, leave it here, and I'm gonna mark it just like that. So that gives me an idea how that needs to be. So let it come up about there and come down the other side. And you can always take a look, like step back a little bit and just see what it looks like and make changes if you need to. Have this feather come in, and as I said over there, put a line just like I did here. Do the same thing here. 1 and then 2. We don't see it behind his hair. And we can have this kind of come in the center, just like this. Go around and go around, just like that. Okay. Now we're gonna come back to his left arm. So we're gonna put his shoulder in. So the muscle is gonna come up and it's gonna come around like this. Then his forearm, or I should say his bicep, is gonna come in like this. So just off of his chest, his shoulder is going to come around like this. Then his bicep is going to come from under where his shoulder is, straight over, and go into the forearm, just like that. His chest is going to come down. Now the bottom side of it is going to be, that's going to come under, and it's kind of going to go up like this. So we're going to create this muscle here. Now the bottom portion of his bicep, or tricep rather, is going to come from under here like this and go in, and then we're going to create the elbow shape here. Now this is where this important part comes in for his forearm. It's just going to come in and stop, and then go where his hand is. Then of course under his hand, we're going to put a half circle here for where the wrist is. He has a wristband on. It's going to go right there. Then the tricep portion of it is going to come in and cut under like this. Then of course we're going to have the rest of his forearm come around and go back, and this is where his elbow is going to meet. Let's move this back a bit. Now for his hand, we're going to come over and go straight across, indicating the palm of the hand. And then for the digits, we just want to put simple lines in, just like this. Secondary lines like this. Now, for the lower part of his abs, he has 2 more cylinders that's here. So just lightly put those in and do it for the other side as well. Now for his right arm, we're going to match the shape of it. So his shoulder's coming about here, and it's going to be here. So we're going to have the top part of his shoulder come around. Then put his bicep in just like this. Bring the middle part of his bicep back under the arm, just like that. And of course he has his tricep that's going to come around and go behind the figure. And then bring his forearm in. Get his wristband in. Now we're going to go ahead and put the handle of his hammer in. So we're going to see his palm a little bit more here. Let's close that up. Just like this. And draw through his hand, of course, so we can add the hammer in. We want him to look like he's holding the hammer, so let's make sure that the lines are right. And let's box that in. So let's let the hammer go to the edge of the page. Come straight up. And let's put a line and divide it in half so we can try and see if we can make it as even as possible. Let's move it in a little bit more. Now, let's bring the edge of the hammer around. It's just a simple line that comes down like this, straight down and then over on the angle. Repeat the same thing on the other side, down on the angle, straight down and then over again. And it's the same for the top of the hammer. If you notice, we have this divided in half so we can kind of see how far we need to go so it looks as even as possible. Close off the bottom. Now he has straps on here, so we're gonna put little simple lines in and then put the bottom of the hammer in. And these lines aren't particular. You can put them in on an angle and try and cross hatch them as much as possible. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and start adding in some of the cape. So the cape's gonna swoop in past his arm, around his body, and off the page, just like this. Let's do the same thing for the outside of the cape. And have it come around like this. And then the rest of the cape is gonna go off the edge of the page just like this. All right. Now we can go ahead and put his belt in. For his belt, it just goes straight across his waist like this. And if you notice, I put a little edge on it. Come around, close the back side of it off. Put a circle in for the middle of his belt. And it's gonna have a T on it for Thor. Let's go ahead and sketch a little T in there really quick. And then have the rest of his leg go off the page. He's wearing tights. And do the same thing for this side. Now the other side of his cape is going to come around off the shoulder. We can't see that. So let's just have the bottom part of it come from his arm and swoop out this way. Swoop inward. And then the rest of the cape can go under his body like this. All right, we're gonna add some the strap to the bottom of his hammer. The strap is gonna come down off the end of the hammer, loop back around just like this. Real simple. Have this part of it come down, and then bring this line in just like this. And of course I wanted to have and add a little bit of electricity charge coming out of the hammer, so this is more abstract. Feel free, please, to go ahead on and let this be free form. What I'm doing right now is just adding bits of lines that come out like this. Come around, go off the page if you want. And you can go a little crazy with this because electricity is free flowing. It doesn't have any exact shape or size to it, and you can just have it come down just the way I'm doing, or you can do it however you want to do it. Just have fun with it. And it might have one coming across the back of them like this. And then one going off the edge of the page. Now, if you sketched Thor up to this point with me, you've just completely drawn Thor. And what I'm going to do is speed up and of course erase all of the unwanted lines, make it all nice and neat. And at the end, you can pause it and take a look at it once it's done.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe by clicking this round button at the bottom. Also, click one of the two videos at the top. Please like this video, tell a friend, and share it on Facebook. Thank you.
The Art Hitman.